United and Chelsea, they've got a good relationship. We've seen as late as the summer where Jadon Sancho signed for Chelsea in a loan with an obligation to buy. We thought Napoli were the front runners to sign Alejandro Garnacho from Manchester United. We know United dealing with PSR constraints whereby they may feel forced to sell the likes of an academy graduate in the form of Alejandro Garnacho, but the door has been opened to Chelsea because Napoli have turned their attention to another forward because they're not sure whether or not they'll be able to sign Garnacho in that window. And that's Karim Adeyemi at Borussia Dortmund. Now, our colleagues in Italy have reported that United have budged when it comes to their asking price for Garnacho. They want around £55 million. Napoli at this moment in time want to spend around £46.5 million. So clearly there is quite a significant gap there. Chelsea have been keeping abreast of these negotiations, and it's felt they're biding their time now to potentially make a move either in January or in the summer. We know they're long-term admirers of Alejandro Garnacho. From a Manchester United point of view, they'd rather sell him to Napoli than Chelsea. They don't want to be coming up against him. They'd rather he thrives in Naples than doing damage to a potential title bid down the line if Alejandro Garnacho performs well for Chelsea. So that is the fear for Manchester United. But ultimately, they want to sell. They're not going to budge that asking price. They want good money. If Chelsea are willing to get close to £55 million, then this is a move that could happen. So we wait to see if Chelsea now come in with an official bid.
Well, they want good money, but they've already dropped it down to this anyway. Mark, does he fit? Would he fit the Chelsea profile?
It certainly appears on the surface that this is the type of player that over the last 18 months or so that they have been looking to sign. Young, hungry players that they pick up for essentially cheap, amortise the finances over a long period of time, and therefore it doesn't cost them a huge amount of money in one go. Obviously, he's only 20 years old. He's shown that he's got the magical touch, and he's got so much potential, particularly in the Premier League, so he definitely fits the profile. Interesting what James was saying there about Napoli maybe going cold on the deal. Chelsea just waiting in the wings. Could that be a part of their bargaining chip where they turn around to Manchester United and say, hey, you've got PSR problems, you need to sell this boy who cost you £420,000 not that long ago, so you're going to make huge profit on him. We're the only show in town. So you've got to take this deal, otherwise you may run the risk of finding out in the summer, we can't sell him, we need to get rid of him, we need to sell players quickly before that July the 1st deadline, which we saw last season with the likes of Nottingham Forest and Newcastle doing little pieces of business to make sure they didn't fall foul of PSR. Could this be a situation? So it's interesting that Chelsea are just waiting at the moment to see what happens. They may be the only show in town.
The Manchester club's dominating this window, aren't they? So let's talk Manchester City, James. Another done deal for them today. Tell us all about it.
Third signing already in this window, and there could be more business to come as well. Omar Mamouche, we've been speaking about him for a number of weeks. That deal finally confirmed this morning at 9 a.m. It's a really significant deal. This a fee of £59 million, plus a further £4.2 million in bonuses. So City were happy, I think, with the deal they got. They were looking around £59 million. Eintracht Frankfurt wanted around £69 million. But with those bonuses, I think all parties are relatively happy. He signed a 4.5-year deal, so it's half the deal that Erling Haaland's got. That's not a 10-year deal, but 4.5-year deal. So he's committed a good portion of his career to the champions. We see him there in the number 7 shirt as well. The Egyptian forward, inspired by Mohamed Salah, will now come up against him in a Manchester City shirt. So really exciting signing this. He's been brilliant for Eintracht Frankfurt this season. Finally, he's through the door. We look to see him in action soon.
Yeah, it feels like the rebuild is certainly on. Kyle Walker's not going to be part of that, Mark. Is he a Milan player yet?
Not yet. Close but no cigar. We've seen, thanks to our colleague Sky in Italy, some pictures of him arriving at the airport, just waving to a few of the press that had gathered by the airport to see him. You can see a few Milan fans as well. That's after Manchester City accepted Milan's formal offer of a loan for the rest of this season.